What's up? What's up? Good evening or morning or afternoon, wherever you are. Once again for the Q&A portion of our trigger-proof content. Basically, everything that you are paying attention to right now is designed to shift your nervous system from a activated space where you are triggered, where you are not in your neocortex, when you're not thinking clearly, when you're not regulated, when you're not feeling safe in your own body, you're not very good at contributing to other people. So here we are. Hey, what's up? Laura D, Dave, what's going on? Marie, so happy to have you. What I'm going to do is invite you at this moment to just take a moment and just pay attention to your breath. Putting one hand on your chest, one hand on your belly. What's up, Dave? Good to see you. I want you, as you're tuning in right now, just share where you're tuning in from. I don't want you to, like, this is community. Just say, hey, I'm Dave in so-and-so. I'm Ange in North Vancouver. I'm D in the T dot in the 6. Like, I want you to just share, let me know where you are here joining in from. And the reason why is because literally this group is going viral. How ironic, going viral. But what I actually prefer to look at it as is health is being nervous system regulation is going viral, and we definitely need that. Let me know where you're kind of tuning in from. A lot of you have been inviting all of your friends in, and I thank you. Please go and invite as many people in. The people that you care about, that you want to feel calmer during this crisis. And the reason why you're here is because somebody that you know has invited you, somebody that loves you, that cares about you. If you don't know who I am, somebody that you know that loves and cares about you, feels that you would be wise to pay attention to this content. Even if you're just lurking and you don't say anything, you're just kind of off the back, you don't want to be seen because you feel embarrassed about something. Even you, it's important, especially for you, to be paying attention. Because every single time I put out a piece of content, my commitment to you is what? Is that you leave feeling more centered in your body, is that you leave feeling out of monkey brain and back on purpose. Pardon me, I've been talking a lot. I've been doing a lot of calls. A lot of people, a lot of you have been reaching out. Many who've been listening have felt called, that felt, okay, I understand what this is about. I know what this is about. Nima, you're telling me that all of these triggers that are going on, this lack of safety that I feel, this dysregulation, isn't new in my nervous system. It's actually a triggering of an old event. And the benefits of crisis is when the tornado comes and sweeps away everything. Everything that isn't important in your life will start to fall away. And it forces us, or allows us, to get into the place where we can actually ask, okay, what is most important? This is an opportunity. This isn't what this does. What crises like this do is that it exposes our weaknesses. It exposes us when we are disconnected from ourselves. It exposes all of the things, it exposes the fact that I'm the people who are not connected to themselves. It's kind of like we're so busy distracting ourselves with our lives, with our work, being busy, that when the universe creates something that causes us to stop and shut down and say, no, you can't do that anymore. This is what happened to me a couple of years ago after a breakup I went through, when things got really heated and they got super intense, and things exploded in such a way where I was going through an extreme amount of public shame and humiliation, to the point where I could no longer distract myself with working, with busyness. And I actually had to sit down and become acquainted with the fact that I didn't know who the fuck I was. all of a sudden I had to become acquainted and aware and awake to the fact that I had been spending my entire life trying to do and achieve and receive and achieve and be seen and be validated and become, you know, whatever financial targets I was going for, whatever likes, or I was basically running myself ragged, trying to achieve and become this thing to distract myself from the fact that I couldn't look in a mirror and say, I love you, Nima. I couldn't distract myself from the reality that I didn't know who the hell I was, that I had a great deal of trauma trapped and stored in my body that I didn't have access to because I didn't know, because I thought I could just do a bunch of lines and columns with doing John DeMartini's method and Byron Katie's work, School of the Work, and just do these lines and columns. And all what I discovered was to bypass the reality that in my body I didn't feel safe and comfortable, and I just had to keep going so that I can maybe achieve this, to take that unsafe feeling away from my body. And I realized I couldn't stand to just be with myself. I couldn't be in a room by myself. I had to have attention, I had to have approval, I had to be busy becoming relevant and fixing and solving something so that I could feel worthy of love. And the benefit of not being able to go out and work and do that was I had to face that fucking demon and look in the mirror and go, whoa, I don't like who I see. That person was getting into inauthentic transactional relationships with people and wasn't able to really have intimacy. And so what I'm now hearing from people when you're reaching out to me is the exact thing that I had felt before, which I totally understand. It's not about a fucking virus. You're gonna be fine. If you're watching this, I almost guarantee you you're gonna live. I don't wanna make bold claims, but you're not gonna die, even if you catch it, okay? You're not gonna die. That's not the problem. The problem is you're now maybe like me in a space of quarantine where you can't distract yourself anymore. And people are realizing they can't use the things they normally did for distraction, and they're in their relationship with this person facing the reality, oh fuck, do I really want to be this person? Some of you are realizing that you don't really know how to connect with your kids. There's no intimacy there. There's no feeling of ability or safety even. Or you're now realizing, okay, the job that I want to go, is that really the job? Is that really what I want to be doing? And so you're asking all the right questions that are part of anyone's dark night of the soul. And what it exposes, this tragedy, this catastrophe, this crisis that seems to be getting worse each and every day. If you're watching the news, some of you just are peeling it into the news constantly. I'm not. I figure my stance is if it's that important, someone's gonna let me know. I don't have to be watching CNN. I don't watch the news. What I've been suggesting to you, if you've been following along the past couple of days, is just put content into your brain that will actually allow you to be moving towards that vision that you have for yourself, which was yesterday's work, which was to create a vision. So as you create that vision, here we go. We are trying to keep ourselves pointed in towards that vision, and most of us don't have one for our lives, and this is exposing that. See, if you have a vision, when you have a vision for your life, when you have a mission for your life, what happens is you have this picture, this vividness of who you would love to be, what you'd love to do, and what you'd love to have, which is what we get all our clients to do, even though there's massive resistance. The benefit of having one of those visions is when you have that, whenever you're going through a crisis that everybody's like, what the fuck, what's coming up next, where there's so much uncertainty and there's change each and every day, you have this kind of anchor. it's like this deep grounding and anchoring in your body, in your life, that you're able to look at that vision and go, ah, yes, this is difficult, but how can this serve that? How can this thing that I'm going through right now be in service of that? In other words, how is this on the way? And when I was in that space of dysregulation, each time you hear the news, and depending on who you talk to, you know those types of people, when you talk to them, you feel worse after you talk to them. Don't be one of those people. I'm recommending you not to be one of those people. So the question is, okay, so what kind of person do you want to be? You want to be the kind of person that when people are around you, they feel more calm and centered. And so when I have that vision, I can now look and go, oh, how can this be on the way to that? Oh, here's an opportunity for me to serve what I have been practicing like extensively over the last 18 years and super duper intensely with depth over the last year. The crisis that I help my clients through with relationship limbo, that kind of thing, or career or identity crisis, when they say, I don't really know who I am. I walk into a room and I'm wearing a mask all the time. I'm like, oh, that sounds familiar. That totally sounds familiar. And it's kind of like a duality thing. Is what, what's his name? Gary Vaynerchuk would use the term clouds and dirt. The clouds is the vision that you have. The dirt is how grounded you are, okay? It's not just important to have a vision. See, I always had a vision. I had a very powerful vision, but what was missing for me was a grounding in my body, a feeling of safety in my body, a feeling of connection and a knowing of who I am. And an ability to look at my past wounding and my past trauma and totally, completely make sense of it all. Complete sense. Like to the degree of every single relationship that I have gone into, it made perfect sense why we entangled with one another. I don't have resentment. There's actually just an open-hearted feeling of love towards them. Am I complete with all of them? No. But this is a work in progress, right? Everything in its time. And as you're working towards all of that and healing all of that, you become more grounded. And now you have access to regulating your nervous system, which is why you're here. You're here because you want to become a leader. You're here because you want to be that space where others can feel safe around. Why is that important? Well, because it's the most important thing in life. Being connected with you, knowing who you are, and having a deep understanding of what it means to be in service of something. Because life is challenging, but when you're in service of that, it makes the challenges and it makes the resistance and the difficulty and the suffering, it makes it meaningful. That's it. That's why you're here. Because when you learn how to become trigger proof and you learn how to expand that space between the stimulus and the way that you respond, then you have choice in actually creating your entire world, including your health. And 18 months ago, I didn't have connection. I didn't have intimacy. I didn't have a group of friends that I could consider, you know, people that had my back, because truthfully, I didn't have anyone's back either. I was just living I was basically in quarantine. My soul was in quarantine. That's what was happening. And this crisis is exposing our level of fixedness to a vision and our groundedness. Because the ones that really do well here in these times are those people. And that's why you're here, because you're committed to becoming those people. Why? Well, because your kids are looking at you. It's the most important thing, is because you have little ones who are looking towards you to feel safe. If you don't believe me, let me know if you have a dog. Do you guys have dogs here? Okay. Lighting, the sun is obviously setting and shining. Yeah, taking glowing red. Exactly. I look demon. Yeah, sorry. I was in flow there. So here's what I'd like for you to do. I was going on, so I'll remember. It was a thought that I had. Let me know if you remember what it is. That's why I don't like reading, because I lose my train of thought because I'm in stream of consciousness. Can you let me know where was I? If you can kind of go in. I see you, Elizabeth, Krista, Lisa, Kyla. What's up? Sohela, woohoo, Linda. What's going on? Khaled, my aunt is here from Ottawa. I love you, Auntie. It's so good to have you in this group, and I really want you to learn this. This is my gift to you, because when you learn this stuff, here's what I was going to say. Your kids are looking at you. Your children are watching you, the way that you're handling things. If you don't believe me, like I don't have kids yet. I'm about to be a dad. In October, I'm going to be a dad for the first time. My pregnant fiance is like completely, in an uncertain time too. Imagine having a baby with all your uncertainties going through all of that. So it must be really difficult. And I know that whatever stresses she's going through is going to be downloaded onto the baby. So my number one job in life to make sure that that kid feels safe is to make sure that his mama feels safe. So that becomes like the responsibility. That's why I'm doing this. So I would like you to write down, just as we do this, if you want to get into the clouds, this is how we get into the clouds. What's your vision? Write in the comment section right now who you're doing this work for, who you're doing this practice for. Who is this for? Write this in the comment section right now. What is their names? What are their names? Okay? Dogs and safety in relationship to children. Yes, that's right. Talking about kids. So Marie, watch this. Check this out. When I don't have a kid, but when all of a sudden there's a loud noise outside, what does Lucy do? My dog Lucy. She looks right up at me. She's staring right up at me, right there. What is she doing in that moment? When there's a loud noise that she gets frightened, she looks up at me, and that little fucker, that dog, she knows, she's really smart. She's watching me. She's looking at my nonverbal cues. She's sussing out my energy. She's very intelligent. Dogs can sense this on you. She's watching me. She's like, do I need to worry? And by the tone of my nervous system, she can determine if she can just go back to sleep or she's got to be on alert. In other words, she's looking at me and she's regulating her tone of her nervous system is dependent on me during a loud noise, a danger. Guess what? There's danger going on in the collective on planet Earth right now. And there's a collective nervous system dysregulation, and your kids are participants of it. But guess what's happening? They're looking up at you right now. They're looking up at you. They're looking up at mom. They're looking up at dad. Why? So that they can determine whether or not they're safe. Now, if you have lived a life of one trauma after another, and it's been trapped in your body, you've made up stories about it, and you might have done some therapy, some counseling, you've been doing therapy, but you've left the embodiment part of it out, the actual shifting of the body and the repetitive practice that we're doing right now, you leave that out, you're not fully optimized in your healing. And you're carrying around that stress. It's like a balloon that's becoming expansive to the very limit. And when you're walking around like that, what happens to you when you get plopped into an environment where there's an epidemic or a crisis going on? Or you get plopped into another environment where there's a divorce or a separation going on, or there's an identity crisis. What happens? What ends up happening is that balloon starts to fall apart. It disintegrates. That's what's happening to our physiology when we're already in a state of dysregulation because so much stress is accumulated. Now we reach somewhere where there is absolute chaos around us and uncertainty. All of a sudden, we don't know where the next, what's going to be happening. We don't have control. And now shit starts to hit the fan. Everybody's looking, going, what the fuck? Like, what are we doing? What's going on? What's going to happen? Predictions, stock market, economy, health, all of this is happening. And now it's exposing my disconnection from myself. It's exposing my lack of grounding, and it's exposing my lack of vision. So what do? Number one, you get into this conversation and you learn about them. You learn about your nervous system. And today's lesson earlier, if you haven't seen it, make sure you go back and watch it. Put away your Netflix, put away the news, just watch this content so that as you're engaged in the content, you will start to feel more deeper in your body, because the content is all designed to get you aware of yourself. And the awareness starts with the first lesson, which yesterday was about breath, while being connected where you're currently at on the planet, while you are connected with a vision. That's lesson number one from yesterday. Go back and watch it. Today's lesson was about the 3 different stages of your nervous system. You are either in a ventral vagal, where you feel connected, social engagement, your humor, you feel safe. You can see that in somebody's face. You feel grateful simply by doing your journaling, exercising, getting your body, your nervous system, getting adjusted works, getting a massage. You get yourself into ventral vagal. And that feels calm, relaxed. You can see it in someone's face. You can also, the next stage when you get triggered, you go into sympathetic dominant, where you feel terrorized, where you feel aggressive, angry, frustrated. That's the sympathetic dominant. And what I wanted you to see is, are you able to see yourself in sympathetic and say, oh, I'm in sympathetic? Because now you have the awareness of where you're at. Or the third level, which we talked about, which was called dorsal vagal shutdown. This is when you have like depersonalization type of anxiety, dissociation, shutdown, depression. This is when your nervous system is on lockdown, where it's just gone beyond. This is kind of the freeze response. This is why when we isolate, that's why isolation is so horrific for us, because we need social engagement. We need to be connected to people. It's pretty freaking lonely here, you know? It sucks. Excuse me. Sorry. Hope I didn't sneeze on you or cough on you. So you got to be able to distinguish where you're at. So I'd like for you to write that down in the comment section where, oh, beautiful. Laura, how much is this absorbing anxiety from what's happening around us, from the negative people, etc.? How much is genetic and biological? Good, good. Laura, that's an amazing question. It's both. The answer is both. Even before anybody was here talking about coronavirus, and that was not even an issue like 2 or 3 months ago, we still are walking around dysregulated from trauma that has been passed down from one generation to another. It just gets passed down, and the anxieties are, it's like you basically were raised in an environment with people who are at the effect of their own anxieties and their own traumas, who were raised by people who are at the effect of theirs. It gets passed down from generations. So that's already there. Plus, the experiences throughout your life, they get accumulated into your body, Laura. Plus, now you get triggered. And now you have other people's. So it's all energy. Think energy. It's an accumulation of energy. So you have now overloaded your system. You're literally walking around. You're walking around completely triggered all the time. And unaware that you're unconscious of this, and you might do some yoga, some meditation, some exercises, which are all good. These are all part of like a foundation. But the stories from the past, the resentment, you're still holding on to. The broken relationships that are inauthentic, the lies, the incongruencies, all are wreaking havoc on your nervous system. So to truly heal, we must unpack it all. But the problem is, it's the last thing we want to do. People don't want to naturally go to those old stories and unpack them. They don't want to take responsibility for, our egos don't want to take responsibility for healing them and doing the necessary work and restoring those integrities with relationships. We would much rather sit back and have somebody else do it. That's our childlike victim identity that wants to make other people responsible. It takes work to take that responsibility. The problem is if we don't do it, it just keeps getting passed down to our children. And that wasn't really, I would say that a long time ago, like throughout my career, I've been saying it. I've been saying, hey, this is important. But I just found out I'm going to be a dad. It's coming up within the next 7 months. That shit's real now. It's like, no. I'm now going to be part of the viral spread of healing when at this time, when everyone is now starting to realize, oh shit, I can't distract myself for the reality and the truth of my life anymore. It's real. It's real. I can't keep hiding from this. I can't keep repressing it. All of these things that I haven't really been addressing, those stories that I don't really want to talk about, I have no choice anymore. I can't keep ignoring them anymore. It becomes really important now for us to address them. So how do you address them? Where do you begin? Well, I'm going to invite you on where to begin, because my commitment was that on every one of these calls, you leave with a deeper sense of self. And I'm going to show you how, and my job, if I do my job right, I want to inspire you to make this a regular practice in your life, to learn the skills to make that a practice, because when you do, you have access to healthy relationships. You have access to waking up one day, 18 months after you were like in the worst place of your life, disconnected from everyone. 18 months later, you're like, I love my friends. I love the people I work with. I love what I do. I love the contribution I make. I feel like I'm earning in abundance in fair exchange for what the services that I'm giving. And I found a love that feels more real than ever. And I'm going to have a baby. How the fuck did that happen? Oh, okay. It's like I've been chopping wood, carrying water, doing the work. And lo and behold, now comes a time where it's like, oh, the world is falling apart. Oh, okay. Everybody seems to be going crazy. Oh, okay. Well, why don't I just teach some tools that I teach normal people, average, regular people who are going through crisis of their own, like relationship divorce, toxic relationships, career, rug gets pulled out from under them, they lose their jobs, they don't know who they are. This is exactly the tools for that. Where does it begin? Let's do this together. I want you to stop and pause, put your hand on your chest and one on your stomach, and just start to breathe. Surrendering the exhale with a nice, deep, big belly breath. Breathing into the belly button, up into the heart. Surrendering the exhale. Do 5 of them, expanding your chest beautifully. Go. It's good to see you, Rusty. Auntie. Scott, what's up, bro? In love with life, loving oneself. You're feeling more grounded, centered. I am, absolutely. This is the gift right there. As you notice your breath, notice where you have congestion and put your hand over it. Just rub it. Just kind of connect with this voice. And I want you to repeat to yourself this little mantra that my good friend, one of my best friends in the world, Dr. Russell Kennedy, mentor / wizard / friend. Am I safe in this moment? Get into sensation and ask, am I safe in this moment? Notice the amount of tension that you're holding in your shoulders. As you acknowledge that you're safe in this moment, watch those shoulders relax. And it really makes sense why these shoulders go up and hike up in the first place. I say this to my chiropractic patients all the time. You realize, Mary, you're wearing your shoulders as earrings. I say it as a joke, but then I remind them that your body is very wise. It's so trying to protect you. And what's the benefit of holding your shoulders up like this is that it protects the carotid arteries from an attacker. You see, your body is acting as though there's a tiger chasing after you. I want you to touch your chest and acknowledge the fact that you're safe in this moment. Look over your shoulder and say, is there a tiger? Oh shit, there's no tiger. Okay, good. Look around you. Is there anyone coming at me with a knife? No. I'm alone in quarantine. I'm safe in this moment. In fact, if I can really look and I didn't have a story of doomsday going on, there's a lot I can be actually really grateful for. This gorgeous sunset, this beautiful view, this amazing conversation that I get to have with a group of people. I love teaching this. This is like my dharma. I get to do my dharma. This is like, wow, I have a captive audience. I'm bored. I might as well teach them all this stuff that actually helps my clients regain power in their lives when they feel like they've lost it and they don't know who they are. How do you do it? You ground yourself back to you. You're doing it right now by being in this conversation. You're doing it right now by observing yourself. Can you observe yourself right now from the moon? That's the picture of, can you see it? It's a little bit, there you go. That's the Earthrise. Look it up. The picture called Earthrise. I had the picture blown up. I actually spent money blowing up this photograph, putting it on my wall. Why? So I can look and have a connected, conscious connection with the truth of who I am right now. That's getting in the clouds. As you're connected with your breath and connected with sensation in your body, can you become aware of yourself from the moon? The fact that you're on a floating spaceship and that you cannot stay. Laura, my pleasure, hon. Can you see yourself from that perspective? Can you feel that connection with yourself? Can you get into sensation while simultaneously being aware of yourself in intergalactic kind of perspective beyond the Milky Way? Go zoom out further beyond that. As you're connected, you can even close your eyes. I know it's hard to keep your eyes off my lovely hair, but close your eyes for a moment and just connect with breath and sensation and notice yourself from the perspective of the moon and beyond. There's a really neat hack for your nervous system when you do that. Notice and acknowledge that you might have been in sympathetic overdrive, or you've been in shutdown, what we talked about earlier today, sympathetic overdrive or dorsal vagal shutdown. Can you acknowledge if you've been in either of those and acknowledge that why it would totally make sense that you would be at this time? Can you do that? Take a moment and do that. Take a moment and look how hard you're working. How all of these old, even before this coronavirus, you were climbing a mountain before this fucking virus thing started happening, didn't you? Weren't you? Can you see yourself there? Not to play victim, but to just acknowledge yourself that you're doing it. You're actually doing it through all of that. It takes a certain kind of person to be here in this conversation wanting to step up and level up instead of being a little helpless victim saying, oh no, Donald Trump, come and save me. Q, come and save me. No. You're going to save you. In fact, you're going to contribute to others. You're going to save yourself so much and be so resourced that you're going to actually be a contribution to others. I want you to see that as a vision for yourself right now. Get into your body. Get into the awareness of where you are from outer space. Go beyond. Realize it's all an illusion. We're not going to come out alive. You're only here for a short period of time, and it's now time for you to get ambitious. What would you potentially like to live up to? What would you love to create? What transformation do you want to bring? Who do you want to grow into? And most importantly, what's your big why in doing that? Can you close your eyes and stay connected to your breath while being connected to where you are on the planet, while being connected to where you are in the solar system, while being connected to where you are in the Milky Way, with the awareness that you're here for a short period of time and that you cannot stay, and that you're here to alleviate human suffering of some sort. That's why you're here. That's the only reason why you're engaged in this conversation, because you're into that kind of thing. Can you put that into your body, what that would feel like for you to be that person? That's the contribution at this time and beyond, and that you actually use this time to regenerate, recoup, heal, take care of the most important person, you. Do the things that you wanted to do, connect, meditate, journal, pray, connect to yourself. Good, this is it, good. Can you breathe into that awareness and feel into that? Who would you love to become? What contribution are you making? See that vision of yourself, fully, completely engaged, making a contribution, giving in abundance and receiving in abundance. Just this beautiful exchange with the universe because of who you're becoming. Can you feel into that? What does that look like to you? What does it sound like, smell like? Where are you located? I want to see it. I want to hear it. I want to hear what your answers are. I want to hear what your answers are. And Auntie, I don't know how to pronounce it. I've seen your name on my content probably for the last couple of years. You watch pretty much everything that I put out. I haven't seen you in one of my events yet, but I'm glad you're following along. I was in a shutdown due to an abusive marriage, right? And that story about where you were at and your story of victimhood towards it and your lack of an ability to see why and where you fit into that dynamic contributes to your stuckness. And I'm not saying you, I'm saying us, we all. So you don't, Antaya. Okay, good. Antaya, thank you. Thank you. Antaya. Now I know how to pronounce it. Antaya. So your ability to change that story, not just here, but in your heart. If you can look back with full understanding, when you look here, here's how you can tell. This is a good telltale sign. Here's how you can tell if you're really healed and complete with it. When you close your eyes and you imagine that person or that event, what happens internally in your body? Do you get triggered? Do you can't think about it and it just causes you to go on a tailspin? Your body will let you know to the degree that that emotional wound is healing or not. Your nervous system regulation depends on your amount of attention that you've put onto that feeling to actually open your heart to heal it. It's not about holding on to that, because that feeling that's there, we're choosing to hold on to it when we get stuck in a narrative, in a story about our suffering in it. What we're doing is we're choosing to hold on to it. A telltale sign is you think back to that thing in your life, and when you think back to it, is there some resistance or resentment? What does your body say? Your body will give you some sort of a flash. And if there's something there, normally your ego is going to want to run away. It's going to want to hide. It's not going to want to talk about it. But your healing is dependent on that. What I'd like for you to do is, as you're sitting You're proud of where you're come. You're almost there. Great work. Great work. We all, exactly. What I'd like for you to do is to think right now. I'd like for you to participate right in the comment section. With all of this coronavirus stuff coming up, your body goes into a state of alarm. And then what happens is it exposes a previous wound that's in the background that's similar to this. I'm curious to wondering, what are you feeling that's coming up for you? Write it in the comment section. What background, like, trigger is this bringing up? I'm gonna go grab some more water. I want you to write it in the comment section. I'll be back in 2 seconds. Gotta grab water. Thanks for staying with me, but I really want you to write it out. Don't hide from it. Or if you have a specific question, something I'm saying brings up a question, make sure you ask. We have 20 minutes left and I'm gotta be out of here. Let me know. So what is the background? What is the background question? Passive role, this might be desire. What is the background alarm that's coming up? I'd love to hear. Please participate. This is free content, and it's not going to be useful for you at all if you're not actually engaging your prefrontal cortex with it. There's a reason why I'm asking you. Engagement is important for your nervous system to heal, period. What's causing challenges for us is disengagement. If you're not engaged with this by answering and going, okay, thinking, what's it talking about? What is the background? What is the background like trigger that this is bringing up for you? For me, when I was 2 years old, I had an experience where for 3 months I had no certainty whether or not my mom was coming back. In fact, I was 2 years old. They went to from Iran to Canada to explore immigrating, but I was not to explore immigrating, but I wasn't going. I didn't go. So I was 2 years old, and for 3 months, my 2 months, my mom wasn't there, and my twin brother, and I wasn't. It was kind of like an abandonment thing. At the time, I didn't remember, but it was definitely in my body. So whenever I go through transitions like this, where it's like divorce, career change, coronavirus, I go through this immense transitional anxiety. I coined it transitional anxiety. And what happens is, it's not about what's happening now. It's that 2-year-old version of myself that hasn't really fully healed, that needs my attention during transitional times. In fact, in your transitional times like this, it exposes all of our old wounds, and it makes it 10 times more important for us to address nervous system regulation by going back there and completely bringing all of our attention to our younger self in that domain, so that we can give that younger self what we would wanted our parents to give us at the time. Does that make sense? Right? Feeling of helplessness. Okay, why is the world failing me? Okay, good one. Maria, I love that. Dying before my children are grown. Okay. Dad was almost murdered when my parents first immigrated. Okay. Amazing, Amanda. That's pretty damn huge. I'm re-experiencing, Roland says, I'm re-experiencing lots of the distress and uncertainty I felt when I dealt with some major medical issues, some from my youth and some still going. Perfect. Kyla, I don't have control. My fear is being left behind. Antaya, okay, great. So amazing, amazing engagement. So what that's happening is, here's what I want you to get, is that Roland, Maria, Kyla, you know this, it all is that version of you is screaming at you right now. I want you to imagine Roland, that younger self, tugging at you. You have a daughter, she's gorgeous. imagine that daughter was actually you, pulling at you, saying, I'm scared, this reminds me of, or just like when I was a kid going through medical issues. Well, guess what you're gonna do? Here's what I'm gonna get you to do, Roland. Here's your coaching. You're gonna write a letter to that 5-year-old or 6-year-old that was going through medical issues. You're gonna go into a meditation tonight. This is, by the way, this is what we do with our group in our program. We do this twice a week, and people are encouraged as doing part of this. Part of this is connecting with that younger version of you that was distressed, and you're going to kind of commune with them. You're going to get into a meditation. You're going to connect with them, bond with them, let them know that you understand their fears. You're going to tell them everything that is going to happen as a result, because they were worried at the time, right? What if they had you to go back to them and say, hey, like, little Roland, I know you're scared right now. I know you don't know what's going to happen. I know you're worried about your health, but I want you to know you're going to get healthy. You're going to get strong. You're going to have some bouts with it, but this will be something that makes you stronger, and you're going to have a beautiful daughter. You're going to be a great father. So don't worry. Just know that I got you. Okay? It goes deeper than that. When we work one-on-one with you and we get to your true core wound, and we use the overview method to really clear it, you have this powerful, deep connection with that younger self that you had fragmented that relationship with, that you've abandoned and you've betrayed in hopes of getting approval. You know, we learn at a very young age to fracture from ourselves, to abandon ourselves in service of approval or fixing other people, and completely. And so we repeat those patterns, and our work is to return back to that person, back to that individual, younger version of ourselves. In fact, what I'd like for you to do is, if you have a picture of yourself at that age, Roland, or wherever you are, if you have a picture of yourself, you're going to put it up. This is me. This is the younger version of me. Okay? And we get all of our clients to do that, because it's really about helping you become resourced and trigger-proof in the now. Is all done by completely putting all of your attention on that version of you. And literally, in a weird way, bringing them along with you. This is the reparenting of your wounded inner child, right? Later died when I was a young adult. Kira Doyle, chaos in the family when I was young. What is happening? Yeah, exactly. What's happening? So what you're going to do is you're going to, right now, we're going to get you into that younger version. And I'm going to guide you through a meditation where you're going to bring them from a distressed state, from a shutdown state, and you're going to regulate their nervous system and bring them into ventral vagal. What's neat for me, I'm a chiropractor, what I've been doing lately in my meditations, and this was stolen from one of our clients who's a chiropractor who posted in our group. He's like, oh my gosh, I went and did an adjustment on my inner child. Sometimes when I'm doing my inner child meditations and I'm holding my little 2-year-old, I'll palpate his spine and I'll do a little adjustment. I shit you not, I actually do. And it works. Dude, I feel like, I'm not saying I'm riding on a cloud all the time and I'm great, but I actually feel like I can be a contribution to humanity rather than a spreader of all this fear. You know what I mean? So beautiful. And let's see. Just gonna catch up on these for a moment. Yes. Okay, good. Parents have ghosts. Laura, I agree with you here. Parents grew up. Great engagement. Okay, I want to say to you, thank you for your engagement. It really makes a difference. So here's what we're going to do. You're going to get connected with that younger self, and I'm going to take you through a 5-minute meditation where it just brings you back into your heart, connecting with them, and then trying to listen in for the guidance. Okay, you're going to be listening in for the guidance. This is really about getting you out of your monkey brain into your heart, where you can now be guided from within. because that's what you need. We're going in through a dark place right now. It's kind of like there's smoke everywhere and there's a fire and I'm walking through smoke. How do I know where to go when I can't see anything? Well, the answer is there's an inner guidance that's inside of me that I have access to if I do the proper work, which I'm going to hopefully show you how to get access to right now. And then on the other side, I'll know exactly what to do. Does that make sense? Okay. Thank you for your participation. God bless. So here's what I'm going to get you to do. Get connected with that age of that younger self where you were. And I want you to just get into your body right now and just get connected with your breath. 5 deep breaths. Surrendering the exhale. And now, connect as you're connecting with your breath, connect where your feet feel, how your feet feel on the floor, your butt feels on the chair that you're sitting in. And I want you to go back, zooming beyond the moon and observe yourself from Jupiter. All the while simultaneously connecting with your body and your breath. Noticing the way that your shoulders feel. Noticing the chaos that's around you from the perspective of beyond the moon. Noticing that you're on a floating spaceship, that you're going to die someday, that you're here for a short period of time, and you're here to make an impact and help alleviate suffering in some way, or being a guide or a teacher to those, as lighting the way somehow. That's why you're here. In your own form. You do it in your own way. You don't have to do it in the same way I do it. Just be aware of that while you're connected to your breath. And that you have an opportunity connect now with the younger self that you fragmented from. That younger self that didn't feel safe or seen. And go in and zoom in and enter the space where that younger self has really been struggling. It's not in a good place. Can you see them sitting there, sad, in distress? Can you approach them and can you actually look in their eyes in a completely regulated space, fully understanding them? Can you see their eyes? What would happen if you reach out your hand to them and say, I'm here to hug you? If there's resistance, that's okay. Let them know it makes sense that there's a bit of resistance here and that you're now wanting to start a new relationship with them. And now, let them know why everything that they're feeling around them feels so horrible and why it makes sense that they have all the rights to have the feelings that they have, that they completely are validated. I want you to really have them feel validated energetically. Figuratively, meditatively look into their eyes while you're talking to them, as though you have the same amount of love for your own child or a pet if you don't have kids. Now let them know all of the amazing things that you love about them. And let them know what happens to them in that era, how everything actually works itself out magically, and that they're going to get so many superpowers and so many gifts out of what they went through. and that they are the best part of you. Let them know that. As you energetically connect, feel their body relaxing and releasing in your hand because they finally feel safe and seen and heard. Now, ask them what it is that they really want. What do you need from me? And when you do this right, you're going to hear a little guidance from them. Mine this morning when I connected said, make sure they know that you love them. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, all right. My inner guidance said, make sure that they can feel how much you love them. I was like, okay, I'm going to make sure that they do. In the morning call earlier, I asked, can you guys feel I love you? And the people who were on were like, yes, I can tell. Watch it. You can tell. And now you have your guidance, this inner guidance to carry you. Scoop that little one up. Bring yourself, scoop that little one up and bring yourself to your current reality. And now you have your guidance, your inner guidance from that younger self that needed you and was able to feel resourced by you. And now you are actually, if you've done this right, let me know. I can't see you. If you were in my room, if you were in one of my events, I'd be able to know. If you're in one of my group calls, I can tell by watching you. Did you feel a connection with yourself? What was the message your younger self gave you? Were you able to see them go from dorsal vagal or sympathetic to a relaxed state where they're in ventral vagal? Let me know. I'd love to hear it. I'd love to give the last 5 minutes for Q&A. Do you have any questions? The other question that I had is, if I put together a 3 to 5 hour workshop, virtual workshop, you could spend 5 hours with me, what would you love to know? What would you love to learn in those 5 hours that would be worth so much to you? What would you love to learn? Let me know what it would be. Answer the question in the group. What would that be? I'd love to hear from you. Or if there's any questions. Are there any questions right now? Where are you tuning in from? Thank you, Amanda, for being there. Peter, I'm glad you're here. Jacqueline, nice to see you, hun. Lisa, what's up, sister? Kyla. Danielle, Lakin, nice to see you guys. Yanni. Are there any questions that you have? I would love to hear from you. I know there's a little bit of a delay, so yeah. So basically, lesson 2 is about the 3 different levels of your nervous system. Make sure you watch it from the morning. You're either in ventral vagal when you feel really connected. You are either in sympathetic, which is terror, and you're actually like fight or flight, or you're in dorsal vagal, which is freeze and shut down. You're either in one of those. Any questions? Love this exercise. My son just asked why I'm crying. Ah, beautiful. You did it. Amanda, what's happened is practical tools to use daily as things change in the world rapidly. Okay, so tools we can use for this particular answer. Okay, great. Promise. We'll get you that. I'm going to be putting together one this Saturday. So there's a limited number of people that can come. We're going to make it priced in such a way which, you know, people pay thousands to come and work with us, but for a fraction of that, I'm going to put together a live virtual workshop for you so that you can learn these tools. What other things you want to learn? And Amanda, that's exactly right. If you can get yourself to a place where you are surrendering to the tears, your nervous system is healing. Your nervous system really needed that, Amanda. That's amazing. Good stuff. That's a sign that actually you would take onto this work really well. Imagine what would happen if you spent the next 3 months completely dedicated to this. What would open up in your life? I'm curious. Farshad, what's up, brother? How to free myself from self-doubt. Okay, great. Self-doubt, we can definitely talk about that for sure. Hey, Ange has been a participant in this, in our programs for a while now. Do you want to share and speak to what that's done for you? What outcomes have you been able to see for yourself? Practical tools for sure. Jasmine, getting back to myself, who I was before the shit hit the fan. Okay, great. If I could put together a 3 to 5 hour training for you. By the way, this training would be only for those who want to emerge as leaders. In other words, people who want like have businesses, are parents that want to lead. They want to be the ones that others can rely on. This is for those people, so that you can learn not to become triggerless, but become trigger proof, to be able to take what triggers you, and instead of losing your shit and getting into conflict, which is the way that I would do it, I would just go into sympathetic, into conflict, to actually turn it around and go into your body and go into healing and taking and alchemizing that rageful energy and turning it into love. This is who it would be for. What else would you want to learn? Always love connecting. Yes, did a nice little did it work for you, Peta? Were you able to connect? Peta's in our program. Peta, do you want to share? Oh my gosh, I would love for you to share. I don't know if I can get you. Can I get you on here? No, I can't. Peta had a massive transformation with doing the work. If I can share, I mean, you've been open with it. Addicted to weed, losing her shit on her kids all the time, jumped into our programs, quit weed, relationship with her husband completely changed. She now is the type of person others would love to be around rather than avoid, self-proclaimed trigger monkey. And you've had an amazing transformation. I'd love for you to share your experience, right? Go for it. Yeah, I'd love for you to write down a little something. But yeah, so how do you feel right now after you did that? Were you there for the little meditation that we did? Were you able to see your younger self and reparent that younger self? That's really what nervous system regulation is all about. The first day that we did it, recap, is global perspective. What's your vision for yourself through this whole crisis? And grounding and breath. Lesson number 2 for today was about building on that. It was understanding the layers of your nervous system. You have your ventral vagal, which you feel connected, happy-go-lucky, fulfilled. Then you have activation, sympathetic activation, which you feel terror, you feel rage, fear, anger. And then you have the dorsal vagal, which is anxiety, which is depression, which is shutdown, which is dissociation. So it's up to you to determine exactly which one, and through awareness, through journaling, through observing, through feeling fully. And what we talked about today is the way you go up the ladder. If you're going from dorsal vagal, which you're in shutdown, the way you get out of that is movement, is getting into anger, getting into rage, screaming, activating that energy, because you're in such a level of despair and shutdown that we need to rev it up. So anger is a good way of getting you from dorsal vagal, is what we do with our clients. Sometimes I have them freaking scream. I had a client who, Nagina, who lost not one child under 3, but 2. And she was doing all this DeMartini work to help avoid feeling pain. And what I had her do was the exact opposite. She was basically in dorsal vagal shutdown when we met. And what I had her do was scream on our first call at how angry she was at God, at losing 2 children. And she screamed, and that got her from dorsal vagal to sympathetic, into her tears, crying for like a couple of weeks. Finally, she was processing the grief. She came through on the other side, and she's freaking unstoppable right now. Talk about your triggers right now. Try losing 2 children. She's now a leader and working with children in Dubai at a clinic, at a pediatric clinic, primarily working with children with neurodevelopmental disorders. And she's got a heart-opening story that she's transcended in order to do this. She's changing the world, all because she took on expressing herself. Now, what was that? She went from dorsal vagal up to sympathetic. The way you get up to sympathetic, you want to exercise, and that little meditation that we just did. But not just a meditation in your mind. You also want to get into an attunement. So that's why I have an overview meditation that I've created, and I teach. It's kind of customized to your own wounding, where you go back into your body like you just did, into that younger self, and do some reparenting work with them. and shift their perceptions and bring them along with you, opening the doorway to a guidance that comes from within. It emerges through you. So that's really what you get from it. So I hope, you know, I hope you really, that landed for you. Let me know if you really got it. So tomorrow, tomorrow's lesson, join us at 11 a.m. It's going to be about 11 a.m. Pacific time. That's 2 p.m. Eastern, and early morning in Australia, and in the evening in Europe. Let me see. Do I have an availability? I just want to make sure I'm available. Yes. Yes, definitely can do that. Tomorrow, exactly. It's in my books. Same time, same station, and we're going to dive deeper. We're going to go deeper into the nervous system. And once again, my commitment to you is when you watch this content, you will leave here feeling more relaxed and regulated. Can you feel that? Do you feel that you are more connected with yourself? Do you feel like you're out of your monkey mind? Do you feel like you're in possibility? Share your biggest takeaways from this call. I'd love to hear from you. If you want to go deeper and you really deeply want to actually go back and heal this and take this time to heal this and invest your time and effort and resources in actually healing this, you can apply to work with us, drnima.com, chat, there it is. I just put the link in the comment section. Go ahead and fill out an application. Let us know exactly what's going on. And if you qualify, you'll get on a call with Kim and she'll kind of unpack it for you, ask you some questions and see if you're ready for a chat with me. Normally it's $1,000 to have a conversation with me, to be able to work through our shit and figure out what's going on. This call with me is free for the right person. What we're actually going to be doing is strategizing where these wounds have come from. Whatever's going on right now and all that uncertainty, whatever's coming up, then it's important that you feel as like it's critical. Now is the time to break that cycle. I see where the wound was in this call. I see where it is. It's been coming up again and again. I'm ready to actually do the work to heal it. Then we'll actually create a strategy for you and exactly what that looks like. Where your biggest obstacle is, where you've been stuck, why you've been stuck, the underlying root cause, and then we'll formulate a game plan moving forward. We just signed on a couple new people this week who are ready to take that plunge and say, this is the time. If there was ever a time to invest in it, it would be now. And actually we're putting together some financing, working with financing companies so that we can make it more affordable for you so you can stretch it out. If you're committed to this process and now is the time, you know that your greater version is on the other side of it and you want like more specific attention from us, from me, working on your specific case, you reach out and we'll help you. Just follow that link and request. Always after your calls. God bless you guys. Anyway, let me know what your greatest takeaway, write your greatest takeaway. I want you to invite 4 or 5 other people into this group who really are in a space where they could use some nervous system regulation right now. Invite them into this group, let them know what they're getting into. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow at the next perfect time. See you then.